Hi there, I'm so excited that you guys are deciding to paint some pottery from home. This is pretty unusual. We normally are here with you in person, and so we can answer any and all of your questions, obviously in person. So I'm going to try my best to do kind of a tutorial as if we were here together. So the first thing you're going to do is you've already picked out your piece of bisque. Our bisque is pretty old because our Clayhouse has been out of order for kind of a long time, so it's going to have some dust on it, but it's no fear. You're just going to get your bucket and you fill it with some warm water. I like warm water because it feels better on my hands. You're going to wring it out. You don't want it to be too wet, and you're just going to go all over the surface of the pottery and until it leaves kind of like it looks a little bit damp. And you can do the back too if you really want to, if you're going to be painting back there. Getting all the dust off is just kind of good habit in general. So sometimes you're going to see like a price on it, and it's no worries because pencil comes out. So as you've already wiped this off and gotten all the dust off, you can start to sketch out your design. If you have something more complex in mind, even something simple in mind, pencil will burn off. So this will burn off. You can make marks on here. They'll burn off, so you don't have to worry about that. The pencil that won't burn off are these underglaze pencils that we're going to give you. And that's how you're going to put your name on them. So it's going to sound awful, but I'll say, by Maddie. It's a pretty terrible sound, but that will not come off, and that's how you can say, to Mom, love you. And that's just kind of cute, and you can date it. I've been putting 2020 quarantine on all of my stuff because so next we're going to talk about colors. At the top we have our warm colors, which are like reds, oranges, yellows, and then at the bottom we have more of our cool colors, which are like greens, blues, purples. And it's really, you play it safe when you stay on one side of the color palette. So this is a cool example. The colors just look really great together. They aren't really going to conflict. And then this is like a warm example with a cool top. But you can see that they did a dark color and then a lighter color on top. And it looks great because it's on the same side of the color wheel. You kind of get a little bit more risky when you start mixing color wheels, or two sides of the color wheel, I suppose. It's all on one color wheel. So you have your greens and your blue on top of a yellow. But this is a great example of doing a light, then doing darks on top. When you go the reverse, you're really playing with magic, and it can turn out maybe not the way you intended for it to turn out unless you do blocking, which is when you leave like white space available for your light color to be surrounded by a dark color. Next, we're going to be choosing colors from the color palette. We don't have all of these paints available, but we have as many as we have. So we're going to try and give you the best options that we have available to us and available to you. All these colors are true to the palette. So what you see is what you're gonna get unless you start getting funky with it and mixing paints, which is super risky and not really highly recommended. So today I'm just going to show you super basic kind of paint rules. I'm just choosing this color 44. This one is special in that it is speckled. So it means that it has little dots in it, kind of like having sprinkles in your paint. So some of them say speckled, not a lot of them do. So that really won't be a concern for a lot of you. So I'm just going to show you that this is like a bigger palette. So if you're covering like a whole surface, you're going to want to use a bigger one. If you're not using such a big surface, you're going to use these like little dot ones. Just try and conserve the paint. It's really hard because you want to go to town with it. So I already have distributed my paint from the bottle. Sometimes it's going to give you troubles because our paint is kind of old. So you're just going to have to go in there and anything kind of small or sharp, or maybe even hot water, and just soak it for a second. You're going to take your paintbrush and mix some water with your paint, and you're just going to start painting. And it's really nice when it just spreads super easy and you don't hear the brush painting, if that makes any sense. When your paint is super dry, I'll just keep going to show you. That's not good. So you want to add a little bit more water. Water is your friend. It's really important that you keep adding water when it gets dry. And this is kind of your coat one. So coat one would be really, really light. It's not going to have a ton of vibrancy. It's definitely not going to look like the palette. The palette, all of those have 3 coats. So you're just going to keep adding your paint to your piece until it's fully covered. You have a really forgiving medium here. If you don't like what you have going on, you're like, really, I want to make stripes. You can just go in and remove the paint, which is so awesome. A lot of mediums of art aren't that forgiving, so you can go through and do that. And it removes the paint pretty much completely, which is really cool. So that's nice and forgiving about this type of art. Another good rule of thumb is to not leave your paintbrushes in the water. I have a really bad habit of doing this, but I'm trying to get better. So you just kind of like get all the paint off, and then you just put it on a paper towel and let it kind of hang out, and it can get out that way. Or when you're washing them out, just don't leave them soaking because it causes the bristles to fall out, and that's no good for anyone. So when you're done painting your pieces and you have a lot of paint left over, like this I would consider as a lot of paint, instead of washing it down the drain, first of all, super duper hard on your pipes. They are not used to this heavy duty paint going down their belly, as my mom would call it. She always said it was hard on Mother Earth's tummy. So if you could, if it freaks you out, you can use a paintbrush. You're just going to take it and put it back in here. That just is like, it conserves the paint. It's pretty easy. I do it with my finger because it doesn't really bother me. So you can just go like this, and you're just going to shake it down. This is going to conserve paint, but also it's going to be easier on your pipes because I'm pretty sure your pipes aren't used to this heavy duty stuff. So we recommend that you don't just like wash it all down. Of course, there's going to be like remnants left in like this little guy, and there's going to be remnants left on here, but that's a lot better than washing a ton of paint down the drain. So a final note is that if you have any questions, really no matter time of the day, please just give me a call, shoot me a text, take a picture of it, Facebook message me, FaceTime me. I really don't mind. Please, no questions are dumb. This is confusing. We usually get to be with you, next to you, painting next to you, and we can answer your questions a little bit more efficiently. I tried to answer as many questions as I could in this little tutorial, but I probably missed some spots. So please just reach out if you have any questions.